This summer, after a dismal Premier League campaign that saw Manchester United score just 44 goals, action was inevitable. And in that search for answers, one name has emerged as both an urgent solution and a long-term investment: Bryan Mbeumo. But make no mistake, reducing Mbeumo to just another winger would be missing the point entirely. Anyone who's followed his rise under Thomas Frank at Brentford knows he's much more than a traditional wide player. He thrives in that elusive zone between the opposition's fullback and centre-back, the half space. That's where he comes alive, cutting inside with blistering pace, creating lanes for teammates, and unleashing that ferocious left foot. In the 2024-25 Premier League season, Mbeumo netted 20 goals, delivered 7 assists, completed 87 key passes, and generated 9.26 expected assists, leading all Brentford players. Numbers that were impossible for Ruben Amorim to ignore. And for Amorim, the fit is personal. He's worked with this profile before. Pedro Gonçalves at Sporting Lisbon, another right-sided forward whose job was to cut inside and attack the box relentlessly. Mbeumo brings that same DNA with one crucial upgrade: pressing intensity. According to Sky Sports, Mbeumo averaged 6.8 successful pressures per 90 minutes, ranking among the top 5 attackers in the league. At Brentford, he was often the first line of pressure, hunting down defenders and triggering dangerous turnovers. As Amorim himself once said, "It's not enough to attack well. I need players with defensive instincts in their DNA, players who win the ball high up the pitch." Now at Manchester United, Amorim is expected to stick with his dynamic 3-4-2-1 system. That's where Mbeumo will likely operate as the right-sided attacker, drifting inside to play close to either Matheus Cunha or Rasmus Højlund. No longer shackled to the touchline, he'll make his moves into the gap between the opposing left-back and centre-back. These blindside runs earned him 12 goals with his weaker foot last season, 5 of which came from pure off-ball movement inside the box. Tactically, he offers more maturity than young United forwards like Amad Diallo or Alejandro Garnacho. Amad excels at dribbling but lacks positional instincts. Garnacho prefers the left wing and struggles to impose himself on the right. Mbeumo, meanwhile, averaged 2.9 successful dribbles, 1.8 shots on target, and 0.5 expected goals per 90, all while playing for a mid-table Brentford side. Plug him into Amorim's fluid, ball-dominant, high-transition system, and those numbers could soar. And then there's his long-range threat, a glaring weakness in United's current attack. Mbeumo's shots from distance don't just look good, they work. He attempted 27 shots from outside the box last season and scored 4 goals, more than United's entire forward line combined from that range. With Premier League defenses often sitting deep against United, a player who can break lines from 25 yards out is gold. So yes, the £71 million fee might raise eyebrows. But Mbeumo isn't just being signed for what he's done. He's being signed for what he can do to the league's best defenses. Take Joško Gvardiol, for instance. When United face City, it's almost inevitable that Mbeumo will go head-to-head with the Croatian defender. Last season, Gvardiol was beaten 14 times by players cutting inside from the wing, a surprising stat for someone anchoring the league's best backline. Now imagine him one-on-one with Mbeumo, who's clocked a top speed of 34.7 kilometers per hour and averages 2.9 successful dribbles per game. This isn't just a foot race, it's a test of anticipation and agility. And remember, 7 of Mbeumo's 20 goals last season came from right-wing cut-ins. If Gvardiol fails to show him the touchline, City may have to drop Rodri or Akanji deeper, leaving Bruno Fernandes with acres of space to exploit. Up in North London, a very different battle awaits, with Destiny Udogie. The explosive Spurs full-back often surges forward, leaving a massive gap behind. In fact, 6 of the 10 counter-attack goals Spurs conceded last season came from his flank. Mbeumo, ever the opportunist, thrives on that chaos. He scored 12 goals last season from runs in behind the defense. This is where he does his damage, but perhaps his greatest test will come from Merseyside, against Andrew Robertson. The Scottish veteran is still one of the most complete left-backs in the league, fierce in duels and elite in positioning. But Mbeumo doesn't need to beat him in a dribble to be effective. He knows how to drag Robertson out of shape, unlocking space inside for a second-wave run. Amorim might very well instruct Bruno Fernandes to time his surges into the box whenever Robertson gets pulled wide. And with Mbeumo boasting a 68% success rate in 1-versus-1 duels, he could easily be the spark that triggers Amorim's entire tactical chain reaction. As Jamie Carragher once said, "This guy breaks defensive structure when let loose in Big Six games." That's no longer theory. It's about to be tested on the grandest stage. Mbeumo is a tactical wildcard, Ruben Amorim's roaming piece on the chessboard. He might not always be the protagonist, but his unpredictability makes him one of United's most fascinating assets this season. Amorim's 3-4-2-1 is far from rigid. On the pitch, it can morph into a 3-2-4-1, a 3-4-1-2, or even a diamond 4-4-2 depending on the moment. What matters most is that each attacker can shift fluidly across the pitch. That's Mbeumo's playground. He's already played as a false 9 in 15 games for Brentford, scoring 8 goals by dragging centre-backs out of position and darting in behind. He's only 1.71 meters tall, but still managed 4-headed goals, reminiscent of a young Filippo Inzaghi with his impeccable sense of timing and movement. Drop him deeper into a right-sided number 10 role, and Mbeumo becomes even more dangerous. With Bruno Fernandes playing as the central or left-sided 10, Mbeumo can link with Amad and Bruno to form a clever right-wing triangle. He can dribble wide, combine in tight spaces, or ghost in behind the full-back. He averages 1.3 key passes per game from the right and central zones. Excellent output for someone operating alongside a conductor like Bruno. In crunch time, especially the final 15 minutes, this trio can crank up the tempo and pin opponents into submission on the right flank. But here's what truly sets Mbeumo apart: his defensive engine. Amorim once shocked everyone by using Pedro Gonçalves as a wing-back. Mbeumo might be asked to do the same. With 4.2 successful duels and 1.2 tackles per game, he's no stranger to tracking back, especially in big games. In a back three system, the wing-back isn't required to mark all game long, but to maintain structure and step in at the right moment. Mbeumo may not be the most physical, but his positioning and recovery pace are elite. And don't underestimate his role as a super sub. When Amad starts and runs defenders ragged, Mbeumo can replace Cunha around the 65th minute, acting as a dynamic false 9. Against deep blocks like Everton, Forest, or Wolves, he's ideal for pulling defenders out of shape and opening pockets for midfield runners. If United are trailing, Amorim could drop him between Bruno and Cunha, driving into zone 14 and exploiting tired legs. Bryan Mbeumo is the kind of player who shows up in the right place, at the right time, doing exactly what the team needs. His tactical intelligence, positional flexibility, and mental maturity make him a rare asset. Amorim may not expect 20 goals, but he expects relentless pressure, four-position versatility, and the power to strike from the shadows. Few players in the Premier League can deliver all that. Even fewer cost £71 million and somehow still feel like a bargain.